So to dig into this a little bit deeper, we're going to jump into a little bit of an activity in this current moment. And what you'll be doing in this activity is taking a look at some of the resumes that you collected on your way in. You have 3 of them. We'll be going through each one. And what I really want you to do in this activity is to put on your hiring manager thinking caps and really think about, as a hiring manager, as a principal, what am I going to look for when I'm looking at candidates who want to teach at my school? So some guiding questions for you when you're looking at these resumes is 1, what do you like or dislike about the resume? 2 is, could this potentially be a teacher that you'd hire for your school? And then 3 is, what assumptions can you make about this person based solely on their resume? And to give you some context about the resumes that you're looking at, these are resumes of selected candidates that we've worked with in the past and have helped place in new schools. So these are actual real people's resumes that you have in your hand, but much like the FBI, I've redacted a lot of the information that's on there so you cannot identify the person, changed up the dates, and changed up their schools. So we're really, really concerned about protecting the privacy and security of the folks that we work with. So just know that that is where these resumes are coming from. So the first resume that you're going to be looking at is actually the resume that's on the white piece of paper that's double-sided. And to give you some context about this individual, they're a relatively new grad, came straight from undergrad and started teaching. And in the past 2 years that they've been out of school, they've been teaching full-time. And right now, this individual does not actually have a formal master's teaching degree, but is currently enrolled in a program. So take a look, spend 2 minutes just digging into this resume. You can work with a partner if you'd like and think about the guiding questions again. What do you like and dislike about the resume? Could this be someone you hire? And what assumptions can you make about this person? So 2 minutes start right now. And we're gonna come right back as a group in 3, 2, 1. So 2 to 3 people, just share out real quick. What do you like or dislike about this resume? Lily?
I feel a little confused because, okay, first of all, the objective, they said, to obtain a position for employment. But I'm just like, that's too broad, too generic. If you're applying to my school, how do I know that you want to work here when you're basically highlighting everything that you've done and not specific to what you're looking for?
Mm-hmm. Great.
Does that make sense?
Yes. So the objective, another person, like or dislike?
Under skills, she talks about filing and paperwork. She's good at paperwork.
Okay. That's a dislike or a like?
That's a dislike.
Okay, great. And last one more. Gentleman with the black bomber.
For dislike under uncommon school, the person listed that he was an elementary school teacher, but what grade level did he, what grade did he teach in elementary school? What did he accomplish there? There's nothing, it's more like he has listed that he was an elementary school teacher and that's it. What did you do there? What impact did you have on students? What kind of curriculum did you,
Great.
what did you do there?
I'm going to stop you right there. Thank you. That was great.
You can put 1 or 2 lines about the position that you have, right?
Yeah, there's no description. It's
Exactly.
Great. Awesome. Hold those thoughts. And then just 2 people share out real quick. What assumptions can you make about this person just based off of their resume? Let's see, different individuals. Yes.
Because this person did so much stuff, like they were part of fraternities or sororities and did a lot of assisting, I felt that this person may work well with others and is an active learner and a team player.
Great. Works well with others, active learner. Second hand. Yes, gentleman in the back.
I think this person is relatively young and experienced. And what they lack in experience, they just fill it up with fluff. Just to make sure it's filled up.
Yes, great. Young and inexperienced, and also adding a lot of fluff to narrow it out. So, great. Thank you for sharing. So some of the assumptions that I would make as a hiring manager One is that this person seems extremely interested in social justice. They've done a lot of work around DASA, around bullying, discrimination, gender equity. This person seems really, really woke and wants to do work around that. The second assumption that I would probably make about this person is they don't seem very organized to me, not very creative, not very thoughtful. I don't know necessarily what it is that you want in your next position. And then the third assumption that I would make about this person is really just the idea that they might not be particularly qualified to teach in my school, but they've got some pretty solid teaching experience, having been at a school that I really actually know a lot about. Like if you have been in the ed world, you might have heard of Uncommon, you might know about their model, you might have taught there, to be realistic. And you might already have some preconceived notions about this person and what they endure in a regular school day because they've taught at Uncommon. So those are some of the assumptions that I would immediately make as a hiring manager. Is there anyone who would like to add to that? I'll take one person. Ma'am in the gray sweater.
I think that this would be a great draft, but what would concern me is, like, didn't you ask anyone to look at it?
Great. Yeah. Awesome. So we're going to talk about the hiring piece in a little bit. So the next thing we're going to jump into is actually the second resume, which is on the gray piece of paper right here. A little bit more background on this person. They're also a recent graduate in a very different context. They have roughly 4 years of teaching at this current moment in time, and they also have a master's degree in teaching. So take 2 minutes, look it over, review it. Again, guiding questions are, what do you like or dislike? What assumptions you can make about the person? And could this be someone you hire? So take your 2 minutes right now. Anyone need a little more time? Yep, okay, great. We're gonna come back as a group. So first question is, what do you like or dislike about the resume? Let's take 2 people. Yes, in the V-neck.
It looks like he first started off teaching and then went into law and then went back again. So, and then it's showing last that, he got his law degree, which kind of like makes you question, is it education that he really wants to return to, the field of education?
Great, so they're a career changer. Do you like or dislike that?
I might question, is it really education that they want? Why did they leave and come back?
Great. Second person in the green sweater back there.
I mean, I think you can make education out of anything, so I think it's cool, someone who's an expert in a field, maybe they want to teach something about criminal justice or whatever it could be. So I would say I like that. And then they highlighted their education and educational experience, but what I would change, if anything really, is maybe bullet point the descriptions under each experience. I think it's kind of like alum, and it's kind of where do I want my eyes to focus.
Great, awesome. And then what assumptions would you make about the person? 2 people. In the teal sweater, Kathy, I think.
It looks to me they started out as being interested in education and then went into law and tried that, didn't like it, and then started tutoring in law to see again if they would be interested in education again, and then continued their pursuit in that, and went ahead and started working in Uncommon schools and Harvard Village. So they're kind of working their way up now to be a full-time teacher.
Great. Second assumption. I'll take one more. In the back with the black.
That they're overly ambitious.
Overly
Did they go
ambitious.
to school for education, they went to law school, and then they're kind of, to pursue your education, to want more, and it's a very rigorous kind of career. It's ambitious.
Great, awesome. So some other assumptions that I would make about this particular candidate is, yes, they are a career changer. They changed their careers twice, education first, then law, then went back to teaching and education. Second assumption I make about this person just based off their resume is They seem very, very well put together. Professionally, they seem like they have great presence and is probably super smart because they went to law school and then decided not to use anything with it. And then overall, third assumption is that actually they're very fighty. They seem like a flight risk. Are they indecisive? They changed their careers twice, went to law school for 3 years, did the full thing, and then didn't want to do anything with it, and then came back and taught for 6 months at 2 different schools. So are they indecisive because they're super, super fighty? And are they thinking about leaving education again? So those are some of the assumptions that I would immediately make of this particular candidate. And now this is going to be the interesting part. Of the 2 candidates, just quick show of hands. If you would hire person 1, please raise your hand. Nobody in the room? Okay. If you would hire person 2, please raise your hand.
Between the two?
Yes, you get 1. So do you want me to do that again? So person 1, raise your hand. You'd hire this person. No. Person 2, you'd hire this person. No opinion. If you don't have opinion, you don't want to hire anyone. And your school's just going to suffer. Okay, great. Great. So people who raise their hands for person 2, why do you want to hire this person? 2 people. Lily.
They're more educated and have more experience.
Okay. So you prioritize education and experience in the black and white sweater?
This person is highly intelligent and has good leadership qualities.
Good leadership qualities? Okay. I'll take one more in the back with the blue shirt.
Well, as an employer, I could basically figure out how I want to use this particular person because there's flexibility behind this person.
Okay, great. So there is no right answer to this question. This changes all the time. If I were in the hiring manager seat, I would actually probably not hire person 2, strictly because this individual doesn't seem like they know what they want. They're a bit of a flight risk in the sense that I want someone here long term, and if you're going to leave in the middle of the school year, what does that mean for the kids that I teach and that are in my building every single day? The other individual, yeah, their resume needs a whole lot of work, but they've been committed to teaching at Uncommon for the past 2 years. It's still technically there, and maybe they might want to look for something in the next school year. Maybe they don't want to leave mid-year, and that's a conversation that I would want to flesh out. But in both circumstances, I would still pass both individuals forward to let them hear the story, but not every hiring manager is so forgiving. And every hiring manager always looks for whatever it is that they need immediately in their school that they have to prioritize. So always remember that you're also competing with another person that you don't know who you're actually competing with. So that's why your resume has to look on point, because if you're comparing 2 resumes side by side, you immediately get a perception of which one you want to hire just based off looking at their resume. It might sometimes not even be about their actual experience and what that actually means. It's literally just their resume looks better. I'm just going to go with them. So know that that is a huge possibility. Yes, Kathy, quick question.
Looking at this, I was looking at it chronologically from the bottom up. So they started out with education, then law, then education. So it looked like that progression. But then I realized that in the middle of that, they went back to law. So now I'm understanding that their current education is in law school, is in a field of law. So what's missing from here is what their objective is. Would they be applying to, through Get Selected? And if they were, it would have to be more clear what they're interested in.
Great, hold that thought. So some feedback that I'd give to both of these resumes. The first one, this one on the white sheet of paper, some immediate resume feedback that I would give to this person is they need to change everything, and they need to prioritize and organize their information in a much, much clearer and understandable way. And I need to actually be able to understand what they've done in their work at Uncommon to really get a full picture of this individual. And a lot of what's on this resume is also just information that I don't need to need as someone who's thinking about hiring a teacher. There are random phone numbers everywhere, random emails. So this is some of the feedback that I would give to this immediate resume. And then for this individual, I don't have a lot of feedback about the actual content. The content is great, but to someone else's point earlier, Paragraph form is really hard to read. I'm probably not going to spend my time reading every single sentence, which is why bullet form is always, always easier to read what it is that you want to highlight, because I can ignore the stuff I don't really care about and go straight to what your curriculum might look like, what your skills and behavior looks like. That might be something I prioritize, so I want to be able to find that really quickly. So the more work you can do on minimizing the amount of time a hiring manager spends on your resume is a lot better. And then to Kathy's point, this individual actually should have a summary, because they need to be able to paint a picture and shift the narrative around why they may be perceived as indecisive and why they went back from law to education. So this person would actually benefit really highly from a summary, a very short one, to just really determine what it is that they're actually looking for. And in speaking to this person, this individual is actually looking for a more progressive school that really prioritizes restorative justice and had a curriculum that really was about teaching kids, not about academic achievement necessarily and state test scores, but really about a curriculum that focuses around the whole child. So that is something that that individual would and should have prioritized on here as a summary. One quick question in the back.
Just format-wise, like the first one was 2 pages, and the second one was 1, and we talked about the paragraphs. What would you say about keeping it, like, the length and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Put bullet points, obviously it's gonna become longer. I always heard you should keep it to about a page. I mean, especially like, if you're younger and maybe haven't done that much.
Yeah, so we'll go over that at the end, but yes, very quickly, this should be just 1 page based off her years of experience, and not be 2 pages, especially since the rest of the information that's on here is not helpful to anyone. Quick question?
Okay, here in the second person, if he was, or he imagined that the hiring manager is going to think the same way you did, was it appropriate for him to delete anything that pertains to law and kept only the education stuff?
Great question. So another formatting thing that they could have done is actually section out the stuff that's related to law into another section. So it would be experience, where it says experience, it should actually say education experience. And then underneath, somewhere after all the teaching, should say something like non-teaching experience or other experience, and that's where they could have put the law stuff to really help section out and partition that. They should have still kept it in there, like they did the right thing by keeping it in there, because otherwise this individual would have about a 5-year gap in their employment, and they need to also be able to explain what they were doing in those 5 years. So great question. Awesome. So we're going to move on to the next piece, and real quick interesting footnote, I find it very interesting that everyone in this room presumed that both individuals were males. Not sure why that is, but very interesting that everyone automatically assumed that they were male. So some quick, strong content takeaways, how you actually can make your resume very strong as a teacher. The first thing is that it should always be quantitatively and qualitatively supported. Anything, any work-related experience you've had as a teacher, you should always try to qualify it with either numbers. If your kids did really great on state tests, whether or not you agree with testing is a whole nother thing. But if you did something to really drive proficiency with your kids, you should own that and put the numbers on your resume, especially if you're applying to a school that really cares about stuff like that. The second thing is just qualitatively what that might look like is instead of saying like I teach or prepare lesson plans, what you can say that makes it stronger qualitatively is I prepare lesson plans in accordance to New York State Common Core standards for secondary ELA. So now you're tying it to a standard that people know about. It's like, okay, like this person teaches Common Core, we focus on Common Core, that's more likely of them being a fit at this particular school and more qualified. And instead, I'm not digging that out at the actual interview. So you can always qualitatively or quantitatively make your actual work experience as a teacher stronger by supporting it with more evidence. Second thing is always demonstrating accomplishments and your actual achievements within the school community. Like I said, with test scores, if that's something that you are proud about, put that in there. The other thing you can put in there is what are you doing outside of your expected scope of responsibilities as a teacher in the classroom that is adding value to the school community. So like, Are you a staff advisor for the parent council? Are you organizing field trips for your kids even though your school doesn't have the money for that, but you're somehow finding the money? These are some of the accomplishments that you can highlight, especially if you're doing a lot more work in the school and making it better, and it's not part of your actual job as a teacher in the classroom. Third thing is avoiding obvious and expected responsibilities. So something like photocopying is something that is expected of you to do. Reading student data is also something that's expected of you to do. So avoid things that are on your resume that just point to, this is part of your normal daily routine. Why is it on there? What I want to know is how you do your job, what you do it with, and what is the outcome as a result of your teaching in the classroom. So those are the important parts, not that you're spending your time photocopying. That doesn't add value to what I want to know. And the last thing is always making sure that it's tailored and differentiated between the jobs that you've had. No two schools are the same by any means. No two teaching positions are the same. No two school models are the same. So what I should not see is you copying and pasting your past responsibilities from your other teaching jobs and then putting it to your most recent one, because it doesn't actually tell me anything about what you did at that individual school. So if your individual school is really well known for a certain very research data-driven technique in their classrooms, that is something that I want to know. Similarly, with all the other schools that you may have worked at, I also want to know what is different about each of these schools, what skills you're coming in to my school with, so that I know what it is that I can expect from you as a teacher in my school.